So this is 2300 hours GMT in London on Saturday, 26th of September 2020. This particular edition is about Silot in Bangladesh, where the gang rape of a young wife while her husband was being kept away from her by the rapists, gang rape by 6 known rapists, has been dominating the news lines in Bangladesh today. This happened on Friday, and we have just watched an interview with one of the Bangladesh based channels given by Saleh Ahmad, who is the principal of the college. Based on his statements, the gang rape took place in an abandoned building, which he referred to as being from the British time and in Pakistan time. Now, British time ended in Sylhet and in Bangladesh and in East Pakistan that followed 73 years ago. And Pakistan time ended almost 50 years ago. So what is he saying? That building was allowed to remain in that position where it could be used by a gang of rapists for that long? So the journalist or the person presenting the program or the piece didn't ask him the question, why was that building allowed to remain abandoned, in the words of Saleh Ahmad? Also, that the hostel where it has been alleged mainly the gang rape took place, the hostel superintendent, in a separate communication and conversation with the same channel, that conversation wasn't shown in that package, said that the rapists included people who had forced their way to stay. Now, whatever the details, whether the abandoned place was the one where they committed the crimes or in a room in the hostel itself, doesn't matter, because they were able to enter the premises during the pandemic lockdown, and the buildings were supposed to be in lockdown. So whether it is inside the actual actively used premises, normal times, or outside in a kind of abandoned place, that is not the main thing. The main focus should be on why the college authorities allowed the premises to be occupied by intruders and anyone who used force. Even worse than that, this statement by Saleh Ahmad confesses that he allowed these criminals, of course he didn't know the crime they were committing, at least that's the surface. He said that they could stay for another few days, another 5 days or something. And with effect from the 1st of October, they would have to go, or the police would be called. I mean, what on earth did he think he was doing? This college has been the subject of criminal attacks, murderous attacks, and burning and arson in the last 8 years. So why was the principal allowing any time to people to be illegally there when there was supposed to be complete lockdown and the premises empty? And apparently there had been other kind of reports of various intrusions, etc., etc. So why didn't anyone make a decisive decision to stop all entries and appearances by personnel that are not supposed to be there? And then he said that there are a small number of employees from the college, and that was not very clear. The point he made about the numbers of people there wasn't very clear, and the reporter didn't pursue this. Point is that there is a complete lack of any control by the college authorities. How could this woman be abducted along with her husband? What were they doing, and what kind of atmosphere was there? What was the permission? What was the state of permission, entrance, whatever? This should have been also asked of the principal in the interview that they published on there. We have seen the bit that they have posted online. What this raises, the question is that the principal, Saleh Ahmad, referred to the Pakistan time and the British time. Now, whether in those 70 years or before 70 years, did anything like that happen in MC College? I don't think so. Because MC College has been the single most important kind of higher education institution in Sylhet, and also one of the most, in terms of history, not currently, one of the most highly kind of respected institutions. The academic performance has been good, very good, and the reputation of the college has been enhanced by the high standard of quality of life in the college that prevailed before the thugs took over. Now there are nothing like this happened in the entire history of this college, which I think was founded more than 100 years ago. And the college was founded and funded by a very well-known and well-respected educationalist Hindu man or Hindu family. The same family also funded and founded the other college, the second kind of most important known college, the Madan Mohan College. So it's probably related, the names are related to members of the same family, I think. So MC is the name, which is Murari Chand College. And it is one of the names, one of the institutions that people from Sylhet are very proud of. And to find that that college has been the site of gang rape of a woman. I mean, where do you begin to condemn this? And how did this come to this? And there has been quick association. The gangs have been, the rapists have been identified as members of the Awami League of Hasina's party. Awami League, the Hasina, the current prime minister. I would say that is secondary. The main issue is the rule of law. Where is the rule of law anywhere around the MC College? And if the MC College could become the site of a gang rape of a woman in Bangladesh, I don't think there is any other site that is any more safe or any kind of secure. So women in Bangladesh are raped and assaulted because not long ago, a woman and her mother were paraded in public by a local councillor or local kind of chair or something. And he too was associated, linked with the Awami League. Now, people link these criminals with the Awami League. And then nothing happens. So this linking is as lazy and as irresponsible as the complete complacency by these same sources that avoid all the run-of-the-mill criminality and lack of security and safety afforded to the people in public life every day. Literally, thousands of crimes are committed across Bangladesh every day. And most of the crimes are not acted on. Most of the crimes in Bangladesh go unacted on. And the fact that these gangs leader or one of the leading gangsters, rapists, had their room or the place they occupied, they found an arsenal of weapons, arms. That shows that in Bangladesh, civilian rule and arms thugs control of the various parts of the civilian life have ceased to be different from one another. In the last decade of the military rule imposed in October 1958 by Ayub Khan, who declared himself the Marshal, Field Marshal. Ayub Khan is the leader of the martial law regime. There were students funded by the martial law regime who carried weapons. They carried weapons even in the halls of residence in the University of Dhaka in Bangladesh. Well, that was the East Pakistan then. And there was no rule of law. In fact, some of the gangs belong to various groups, not just the Ayub Khan faction, there were other factions as well. So when these students tried to stay in the halls of residence, ordinary students, not armed, ordinary students doing the ordinary so-called courses, they were terrified of even raising even the slightest question as to what was going on in their hall of residence. There are several halls of residence in the University of Dhaka where thousands of students lived. And all the halls were under the influence of one gang or another of armed thugs. Now, compared to those thugs and their kind of criminality, it seems that the numbers and the powers of the armed thugs in the post-Bangladesh or post-1971 kind of era in the institutions of higher education, so-called, the numbers have been 100 times worse. And there is no rule of law, there is no due process, there is nothing. And I think that whoever is in the business of talking about political accountability in Bangladesh, whoever that is, I don't know because I don't have any contact with any of them, but observing objectively from independently available sources, it is very clear that there is no rule of law, there is no due process in Bangladesh for most people. Absolute majority of the people don't have any access to due process, no safety, nothing. Now, this is terrifying to people who are victims of crimes, because if they are victims of crime, that is bad enough. That is absolutely unchangeable loss of their life's qualities. And when they find that they have not been able to seek remedies against that, that makes it even worse. So that is the ordinary life in Bangladesh, and the fact that this principal could give that set of statements and be not condemned for his incompetence, negligence, and lack of rigor, as he shown, is very worrying indeed. The solution to these kind of problems is that the institutions of education, whoever is in government, whatever color or name or whatever other details, schools, colleges, and other institutions of, quote, education must be out of bounds for the criminals. And no party, no government party, no opposition party must be allowed to have any Qaeda or any Kada, whatever the pronunciation is, of students or youths associated with that party. And it must become a major criminal offense for the leadership of the party to allow any such grouping anywhere. And the leadership of the party should be disqualified from seeking any power in public life, standing in elections, and occupying public posts. Those who sing the song about Bangladesh independence and freedom and liberation, do they sing those with this realization now of what is happening in Bangladesh, what has been happening in Bangladesh? And that is the question that we shall be examining in more detail in due course. This is ending this particular short edition at 17 after 23:17 GMT on Saturday, 26th of September 2020. We shall be updating our commentary and examination and observations on this gang rape and its implications on the very future of Bangladesh as an independent country, because there must be other threats to the Bangladesh independence and freedom and sovereignty. And the core message, the core promise, স্বাধীনতার মুক্তিযুদ্ধের চেতনা, the awareness of liberation war. We shall be seeking that one. Where is it? And who has hijacked it? And what happens to the promise of free, independent, fair, just Bangladesh? And when will the woman, every woman in Bangladesh deserves freedom. Every girl in Bangladesh deserves freedom. Every child in Bangladesh deserves security and safety. And if any government fails to understand that, then that is not a party political failure, I would say. That is an existential failure for the whole of Bangladesh. As I have said, Bangladesh is not treated by the biggest demographic neighbor, India, anywhere near the same way that Indira Gandhi and her regime treated the Bangladesh refugees or Bangladesh war refugees in 1971. In fact, the Indian goons who are in control of Indian government now consider Bangladesh as a Muslim country first. And they don't recognize Muslims as acceptable at all. So there is a big threat to the very existence of Bangladesh from such kind of attitude as openly expressed by people in power, in government, in India. So what is going on in Bangladesh? What happened to this woman in the gang rape is a rape of the idea of Bangladesh by these thugs who allows such gangs of rapists to commit rape on the idea, the freedom, the dream of freedom, the very core of the promise of liberation and independence. It's 20 past 11 GMT on Saturday, the 26th of September 2020.